Prologue. Love is the driving force of my existence. At a young age, I learned from family, friends, and apostle Jose Marti that love must be nurtured daily to grow and remain powerful. Then I read Memoirs of Adrian. Passion presented itself in the forms of vocables, values, and ideas I identify with. Romance is the air I breathe and bathe in. My poetry, for this selection you are about to read, it's about one of my loves, the love of my life, the man who looks at me with a shine that enlightens my vibration waves. By my late 20s, I was pleased with my adventurous achievements. But in my early 30s, I felt I was on the cusp of what I thought was my definition of happiness. My body was in shape, I had a job that paid me enough to travel and do what I wanted back then. And I had some structure in my routines. I was working out, writing more, taking piano classes, and enjoying a bit of discipline accompanied by hedonistic indulgence. I felt different. I was into writing books, reading, music, opera, ballet, horseback riding, traveling, poetry, philosophy, politics, and fixing the world, and of course, plenty of sex. I realized that those things that got me excited could be boring to many people I met, just as I found boring many things people were fascinated by. I was at peace with it. I thought maybe I wasn't meant to be in a relationship other than with myself. Being romantic isn't for everybody. I know some people I have seen impressing me with their dedication to show affection. Just to mention a few I have seen in action: Julisan, Jose Luis, Darwin, Leon, and more than a couple of my ex-boyfriends. My friend David, who heard my dream aloud in Roraima and made it a reality, in complicity with his friend Maria. A table with a white tablecloth, hors d'oeuvres, and a violin, taking us on a dugout canoe called Curiara in Venezuela to a sand island in the middle of the lake by the waterfalls near the Tepuis, where the houses of the gods in Canaima stand tall. He took me to look right into the eyes of Angel Falls, the world's tallest waterfall, on a plain that almost kissed its waters. I have friends like Celia, who sings to me and brings me flowers, writes me poems and letters, who is one of my therapists and a female version of myself to some extent. I thought I had already learned what love was all about from friendships and family. They are just a small group of reliable people in my life, giving me much love, making me feel secured and at times a bit cocky, thinking I didn't need to love a man and bring him home for a long-term relationship. My friends and family know I enjoy the pampering and their lessons, and they enjoy mine. We care for each other. We are as strong and as fragile. We must balance our acts. In our instances of weakness and shadows, our circle of chosen protectors is there to help us when we forget how to help ourselves. In our best, they are there to splatter brushstrokes of warmth into the mural of our lives, to sing in the chorus of our symphonies. And when we are in doubt, they are the whip, the lighthouse towards the march to certainty. I still try beautiful styles of love stories. I got into romantic affairs I enjoyed and learned from them. I also became more skilled at identifying when is the right time to let go, which allows relationships to transform rather than end. When one knows that the things that get one motivated about another person are fading, it's better to remold romances into friendships with honesty and a bit of pain, but with the conviction that we took and gave what we could from each other. We can attempt to reverberate the journey with new fireflies of courtship. If it doesn't work, one must know when to dock that boat and disembark. I'm still friends with most of my past lovers. They're part of my life. For those who aren't, it's because they didn't take endings graciously. And I suffered for them. But I owe them the truth, and I owe it to me as well. After some effort, I was convinced I had tried my best, and I was ready to date me. In the end, I was still husband material in the making myself. We are a piece of art. We're also the artist. We must create of ourselves our own masterpiece. I also had already pondered in my mind the type of men who could make me fly. I didn't think he could exist beyond the realms of my imagination. In the words of Oliverio Gerondo, if they don't know how to fly, those who pretend to seduce me are wasting their time. I too wasted time on occasions trying to seduce who I shouldn't. Perhaps trying to satisfy the savage side we own. From Marcus Aurelius, I learned we have an animal soul and a rational soul. I didn't want someone sleeping next to me every day just for the sake of having a partner, as others might have felt about me. Being single didn't sound bad at all. I thought I had my friends and family to entertain my rational soul. To satisfy my animal soul, I had the privilege and freedom of sleeping with whoever I wanted, as long as it was a requited affair. And there he was, to prove me wrong, to prove me right, to prove me wrong again. Wrong because he would defy my willingness to be completely single, to keep working on the man I wanted to become. Right because the man I dreamed of really existed. Wrong again because that man existed out of my head, standing in front of me. The day we met, I was in paradise. Fire Island is an escape from civilization, where fun and liberation, quietness and seclusion reign and coexist. It's a haven of beauty, with bay, beach and jungle landscapes, swans at sunset, and ice cream by the boat, anecdotes to savor. Fire Island is a place to be free, to be kind, to be crazy or to be quiet, to dance or to relax. The vibrant atmosphere offers endless options to the tip of your desires. Boardwalks and serenity, or beach parties, pool parties, house parties, and tea parties for every taste. On July 3rd, 2016, I was there with part of my chosen family, seeking a carefree escape from my existential musing. That's when I saw him, a handsome bartender who caught my eye. There was another guy I was interested in, like a soulless hunter, flesh looking for flesh, but I never even got to talk to him. I approached Malik with a cheeky pickup line. "Hello sexy, what's your name?" Though I cringed at my forwardness, it worked. He was talking with someone I knew, but I didn't hesitate to ask for his number. We were at a pool party near the hotel next to Blue Whale, and I remember my friend George's advice one night at Splash Club at 17th Street in Chelsea, Manhattan. When one first meets someone one is interested in, one must keep things brief and connect later. As I waited for Malik to finish his shift, my phone died. I was searching for an outlet in the dark and crowded dance floor or sip and twirl. I thought that maybe it wasn't meant to be until we crossed paths again in line for the last ferry. He came to me like a favorite verse I heard one more time to never leave my mind. He took my hand, leading me to a bench. The rest was pure magic. On the ferry, I told him he resembled Antinous, as depicted in Memoirs of Hadrian's, with curls that framed his face like the Greek god from Bithynia. It impressed me that he knew who Antinous was, a sporadic find among even avid readers I know. I was still exploring the ocean of literature. It was thrilling to discover someone who shared my passion. Learning that he was familiar with Margaret Jusener's novel, which had cast a spell on lovers, was a delightful surprise. Then he revealed he was an artist. Also that summer, he was dedicating part of his time to helping underprivileged kids through the Strong Youth program in Long Island. Not only was he creative, but also knowledgeable. He was using his talents to make a positive impact. I was eager to know more about him. As we gazed at the sky, I pointed out the shining star Vega, the brightest in the Lyra constellation, and joked that it was witnessing our body romance. Two strangers behind us, noticing our happiness, offered to play music for us. We laughed as they played a song during our first night. When we parted ways, he went with his mom while I joined my friends Jenny and Anania in Long Island, where Ivan and Diego were also staying. That night, we spoke on the phone, reluctant to end our conversation. Though we had to say goodbye, I was excited for our upcoming date in 2 weeks. A few days before my next encounter with Malik, I went out with my friend Albert to Rice Bar in Manhattan. We have been friends for a very long time, and he talked to me about us going to celebrate his birthday in Paris. I hesitated, not wanting to jeopardize my plans with the mysterious artist. Albert, ever the muse and the wings, encouraged me to bring Malik along. When I said I think I couldn't go to France because of my date, Albert said, "So what? Bring him to Paris." I said, "Are you crazy?" He replied, "Aren't you?" I stepped out of the bar and called Malik. "Do you want to come to Paris for our first date?" We later laughed at the absurdity of it all, joking it could be a scene from the movie Taken. When he told his mom, she invigorated him, saying he'll be an idiot to pass up this opportunity. We took off to Paris, thanks to the benevolence of my ex and a friend who gave us buddy passes to fly there in business class. I couldn't afford those tickets. I was living a life I couldn't afford, but I thought I deserved it. Love opens all paths and runways. We owe American Airlines. We have met many attentive employees. They contributed to our love story. I will always be a fan of that company, its culture, and the individuals who make it happen. When we arrived in Paris, we took a train from the airport Charles de Gaulle to the city, where a woman serenaded us with the song La Vie en Rose in the wagon where we sat. She handed me the microphone, and I sang for Malik. We strolled through the city at night, and we got on the Ferris wheel of Place de la Concorde. Paris can't hide how majestic it is, not even in the dark of the night. I saw Paris that night with my head down and my legs up in the air from a slingshot ride at a summer fair that happened to be in town, with amusement rides and games. The next day, we had dinner on a glass boat on the Seine River. A woman singing French classics enchanted us with her voice as we relished the city's allure. When we passed the Statue of Liberty, I felt free, and we discussed the history and the symbolism of the gift from France to the United States. Two countries in a brotherhood are aspiring to represent freedom and equality. After sunset, the boat docked by the Eiffel Tower, illuminated by a full moon. The next day, we explored the city with Albert and Mariela. With those two, I can always count on a good time. Later that evening, we met with my friend Antoine at a club and danced the night away. Malik took me to the Louvre, where I was captivated by his fervor for art and history. I learned much from him as we marveled at the masterpieces. When we found the Venus of Milo, the goddess of love, I gifted him a gold necklace with a star pendant that said Vega, symbolizing the star that witnessed our first romantic encounter when we took the ferry from Fire Island Pines to Sayville. I still remember him reenacting the entire White Chicks movie later that night at a cozy hotel in an arrondissement I can recall, but I could find my way there from the Champs-Élysées. On our last morning, I asked him, "Did you fall in love with Paris?" He replied, "I fell in love in Paris. That day, we had breakfast in Paris, lunch in London, and dinner in New York, marking the beginning of our love story. For the past 8 years, we continue to walk together, enjoy picnics, and write letters to each other. When he doesn't have to work early, he prepares breakfast while I get ready for work, wearing a robe with one of my predilected paintings of his, Entangled Souls, printed on it. He writes me poems on a pink typewriter, and I have responded with letters penned by a feather quill from my office. Even though we live together, I will mail them to him, reveling in the anticipation of his reaction. When I am away for work, I compose poems to share with him upon my return. We have made Fire Island a ritualistic sanctuary where we return with a clear intention. Our nights at Ron's place there with Abel were unforgettable. Jason and Norma introduced me to Ron many years ago. There are people we must always be grateful and loyal to. They introduced us to our naiads and oryx. Eduardo had introduced me to Clyde when I was a teenager. We became family. Clyde took me to my first clandestine gay party in Havana when we were younger. Now we have slumber parties at Terrace Castle in Switzerland, or nights of illumination and wisdom. In one of the places, my best friend lives with his boyfriend, Not Vital, during parts of the year. Not is one of my favorite artists. From both, I get some of the best advice and lessons of my life. Life is a chess full of surprises, and the key beats inside of it. 20 years later, we learned my friend Clyde's aunt was one of my mom's best friends in high school. In Tarasp, Malik and I had peered out from the highest tower window, bare and unashamed, when the both of us were alone. Malik without clothes, holding his knees as he sat on the sauna looking out the window pane into the greenery of Swiss mountains. Perhaps the same peaks stared at by Alberto Giacometti many decades ago. I was naked also, freed of sins. We have cried tears of joy in Brazil, witnessing the beauty of love at impressed weddings with Rodrigo as they arrived at the altar by boat, surrounded by the sunset aria and a violin. In the very same country, we have experienced the liberating sensation of flying while hang gliding, jumping from Pedra Bonita in Rio de Janeiro. Our showers, our impromptu concerts in the bathroom, and our nightly massages are sensual glories with their own alphabet and map. On my birthday, we escape to secluded cabins in the woods where nature is vigilant. We bring a vinyl player loaded with classics by Nina Simone and Tchaikovsky, Mina, Celine Dion, opera, salsa, Billie Holiday, Lana Del Rey, and more. Our nights watching RuPaul Drag Race are a consecrated protocol. RuPaul deserves the Medal of Freedom for her impact in this world. We also indulge our nights watching Will and Grace or The Golden Girls, reminiscing about the past. While our love isn't perfect, we face challenges together, armed with our safe word and unbreakable bond. Some of my most treasured moments have been spent lounging in a hammock at art studios we worked at in Hoboken, Weehawken, Guayaba Gallery in Union City, or our time living in Venice, Italy. Whether it was at the Gallery at Santa Croce 923 or the living room at the tempting backyard of the house next to a church in Murano, I adored watching him paint and cook while I wrote or cuddle him from behind. I find solace in dropping the notes of my heart as he creates his art. Our beloved dog, Mariposa, is a bundle of devotion who has accompanied us on our adventures, riding trains, buses, boats, and planes. She's a feisty one at first if she doesn't know someone getting close into her space, but once she's told the strangers are okay, she trusts them, and she becomes a loyal companion. After a brief warm-up, she'll snuggle up beside the new friend and even try to hold the wrist with her teeth as if to say, "Don't go," when people she just got used to want to leave. I'm not sure when some animals show affection, if it is the result of pure emotions driven by hormones and actions. But for me, loving isn't just a feeling. It's a conscious choice, inspired and made wisely. The actions translate into emotions and vice versa. Love doesn't have to be without minor lacerations. When I found that special someone, I wanted to spend every night entwined in each other's embrace, holding us in the funniest positions, inspiring and supporting one another through life's ups and downs. Malik and I are entangled souls. I dedicated this book of poetry to him, my partner in love and creativity. I've also written a novel about the Renaissance of the American Empire, which I'll refine, edit, and publish in due time. Because I believe we can build a better world today. For now, I hope you enjoy these poems from one lover to another. I have left some blank pages for you to fill with your own thoughts, to correct my verses, or to craft your own poetry. Remember, writing, like music, love, and all the arts, takes the shape of salvation.